chaos of the Korean War unfolded and ended with its devastating consequences, North Korea's armed forces learned something very important. It learned never to lose its air superiority in a conflict with the United States. Due to this, North Korea has focused more on its air superiority, developing fighters with advanced capabilities that have no rivals. North Korea has only improved since then, and recently it unveiled an advanced weapon that shocked the world. What is this most reverent weapon? What are the capabilities that it boasts of? Join us as we delve into the details of the North Korean MiG-29 that shocked the world. When the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics dissolved in 1991, other nations believed that North Korea would be unable to buy or possess any advanced weapon that would keep it up to date with the latest technological advancement. Due to this, the United States and other allies recognize the advantage they have over the country due to its lack of weapons of warfare. Shockingly, North Korea remained a force to reckon with, putting its rivals to shame. If you're wondering how this happened, here it is. In October 1986, North Korean leader Kim Sung visited the Soviet Union, and eventually Moscow agreed to supply the country with its first MiG-29 Fulcrum fighter jets. While North Korea received about 24 MiG-29 from the Soviet Union, this country's Air Force decided to enlarge its fleet. It acquired a permit and technological assistance to manufacture an upgraded version of the fighter jet. North Korea also opened a small production line and manufactures about 2 to 3 fighters per year. By the end of the 1990s, about 15 fighter jets had been manufactured, which is small when compared to the Soviet production lines, which produced more than 24 jets per year, but nevertheless, it was a significant addition to the North Korean fleet. The first North Korean-built MiG-29 jets flew in the 15th of April 1993, and the performance was as perfect as the ones made by the Soviet Union and even Russia. In 1997, North Korea signed a contract with Russia's state-run arms dealer for military cooperation. The contract included continued assistance for the manufacture of the fighter jet in North Korea. The Mikoyan MiG-29 is a twin-engine fighter jet that was developed by the Mikoyan Design Bureau as a superior air fighter during the 1970s. This fighter jet, as well as the larger Sukhoi Su-27, was developed to challenge the United States' new fighter jet, like the McDonnell Douglas F-15 Eagle and the F-16 Fighting Falcon. The fighter was initially designed to combat any enemy aircraft. Several MiG-29s have been upgraded to the role of fighter that is capable of performing a number of different operations and are commonly outfitted to use a range of air-to-surface armaments and precision munitions. It has been manufactured in several major variants, including the multi-role Mikoyan MiG-29M and the naval Mikoyan MiG-29K. The most advanced member is the Mikoyan MiG-35. The models that were later developed had features that included improved engine, glass cockpits with HOTAS compatible flight control, modern radar, and an increased fuel capacity with aerial refueling. Following the dissolution of the Soviet Union, the militaries of multiple ex-Soviet republics have continued to operate the MiG-29, the largest of which is the Russian Aerospace Forces. The Russian Aerospace Forces wanted to upgrade its existing fleet to the modernized MiG-29 SMT configuration, but financial difficulties have limited deliveries. The MiG-29 has also been a popular export aircraft. More than 30 nations either operate or have operated the aircraft to date. The fighter jet has aerodynamic similarities to the Sukhoi Su-27, but there are also some obvious differences. The MiG-29 has a mid-mounted swept wing with blended leading-edge root extensions swept at around 40 degrees. There are swept tailplanes and 2 vertical fins that are mounted on booms outboard of the engines. Automatic slats are also mounted on the leading edges of the wings. They are 4 segments on early models and 5 segments on some later variants. On the trailing edge, there are maneuvering flaps and wingtip ailerons. The MiG-29 has hydraulic controls. It possesses a SAU-451 3-axis autopilot, but unlike the Su-27, no fly-by-wire control system. Nonetheless, it is very agile, with excellent instantaneous and sustained turn performance, high alpha capability, and a general resistance to spins. The airframe consists primarily of aluminium with some composite materials and is stressed for up to 88 meter per second square maneuvers. The controls have soft limiters to prevent the pilot from exceeding alpha limits, but the limiters can be disabled manually. The cockpit features a conventional center stick and left-hand throttle controls. It has conventional dials with a head-up display and a Shell 3UM helmet-mounted display, but no hands-on throttle and stick capability. The cockpit of this fighter jet is similar to the earlier MiG-23, but the MiG-29 has better visibility than most previous Soviet jet fighters due to a high-mounted bubble canopy. Upgraded models introduce glass cockpits with modern liquid crystal multifunction displays and true HOTAs. The armament that can be found in the MiG-29 includes a single GSH-31 30mm cannon that is in the port wing root. It initially had a 150-round magazine, which was later reduced to 100 rounds in later variants. This allowed only a few seconds of firing before running out of ammo. Original production MiG-29 aircraft cannot fire the cannon when carrying a centerline fuel tank as it blocks the shell ejection port. This was corrected in the MiG-29S and later versions. 3 pylons are provided under each wing, for a total of 6. The inboard pylons can carry either a 1,150-liter fuel tank, one Vimpel R-27 medium-range air-to-air missile, or unguided bombs or rockets. Some Soviet aircraft could only carry a single nuclear bomb on the port inboard station. The outer pylons usually carry R-73 dogfight air-to-air missiles, although some users still retain the older R-60. A single 1,500-liter tank can be fitted to the center line between the engines. The United States has supplied AGM-88 HARM missiles to Ukraine. It appears that they are fired from MiG-29s. It was only disclosed after Russian forces showed footage of a tail fin from one of these missiles. US. The baseline MiG-29 9.12 has a Phasotron RLPK-29 radar fire control system, which includes the NO-19 Sapphire-29 look-down/shoot-down coherent pulse Doppler radar and the TS-100.0202 digital computer. The NO-19 radar was not a new design, but rather a development of the Sapphire-23 ML architecture used on the MiG-23. During the initial design specification period in the mid-1970s, Phasotron Nayar was tasked with producing a modern radar for the MiG-29. To speed development, Phasotron based its new design on work undertaken by NPO Istok on the experimental Soyuz radar program. Accordingly, the NO-19 was originally intended to have a flat planar array antenna and full digital signal processing for a detection and tracking range of at least 100 kilometers against a fighter-sized target. Prototype testing revealed this could not be attained in the required time frame and still fit within the MiG-29's nose. Rather than design a new radar, Phasotron reverted to a version of the Sapphire-23 ML's twisted polarization Cassegrain antenna and traditional analog signal processors, coupled with a new NII Argonne-designed TS-100 digital computer to save time and cost. This produced a working radar system, but inherited the weak points of the earlier design, plaguing the MiG-29 ability to detect and track airborne targets at ranges available with the R-27 and R-77 missiles. The NO-19 was further compromised by Phasotron designer Adolf Tolkachev's betrayal of the radar to the CIA, for which he was executed in 1986. In response to all of these problems, the Soviets hastily developed a modified NO-19M Topaz radar for the upgraded MiG-29's aircraft. However, VVS was reportedly still not satisfied with the performance of the system and demanded another upgrade. The latest upgraded aircraft, MiG-29M, offered the NO-10 Juk-M, which has a planar array antenna rather than a dish, improving range, and a much superior processing ability, with multiple target engagement capability and compatibility with the Vimpel R-77. Russia today continues to maintain close defense ties to North Korea, particularly in the field of air defense, because they have signed a number of military agreements, including an agreement in 2015 declaring their year of friendship, specifically facilitating close cooperation in air defense and intelligence. Visits to Moscow by high-ranking delegations from the North Korean Air Force remained frequent, and according to U.S. sources, Russia has continued to supply its East Asian neighbor with components key to maintaining its fighter fleet. It has repeatedly been pointed out that if the 2006 United Nations arms embargo against North Korea had been fully enforced, the majority of the North Korean fleet would today be unflyable, indicating that acquisitions of Russian parts have continued. With Russia having reportedly already provided North Korea with advanced variants of the R-77 and R-27 long-range air-to-air missiles, it is also a significant possibility that Moscow has also lent assistance in modernizing the MiG-29 jets in production by providing more advanced components for sensors and avionics. With North Korea having indicated its willingness to acquire cutting-edge Su-35 air-superiority fighters, an acquisition which would have cost approximately $1 billion for even a small contingent of just a dozen fighters. Pyongyang is well within its budgetary limits to afford modernization and a continuous manufacture of the MiG-29, which is cake on a lighter aircraft that comes at a fraction of the cost of the heavier Su-35. The fact that the country's armed forces had some hope for a potential acquisition of the Su-35, Russia's most capable fighter, indicates that a basis of high-level cooperation already exists in the field of aerial warfare. The continued growth and modernization of the North Korean MiG-29 fleet remains a potent and cost-effective means of keeping the country's air force viable against the threats posed by its leading potential adversaries. Continued cooperation to facilitate such growth is likely to continue to be perceived by both Pyongyang and Moscow as strongly in their interests. Asides the MiG-29, North Korea also has the deadly Pokpung-ho, officially known as the Chonma 215 and Chonma 216 are North Korean main battle tanks developed in the 1990s. The tank may incorporate technology found in the T-62, T-72, and Chonma-ho MBTs. Outside nations nicknamed the tank M2002 because the tank went through performance trials on February 16, 2002, although the tank may have been in existence since 1992. Unclassified images of the Pokpung-ho finally surfaced in 2010, which showed the tank design appeared to be developed from the later models of the Chonma-ho and influenced by the T-72. The Pokpung-ho has better mobility, survivability, and firepower than the Chonma-ho. Capabilities of the tank have been speculated to be nearly identical to T-90s. However, the limited access to technical information regarding the Pokpung-ho makes accurate comparisons very difficult. The Pokpung-ho's primary armament was almost certainly the Tu-20 115mm gun in early examples. However, later versions seem to be armed with the Tu-26/Tu-46 125mm smoothbore gun, which fires AP rounds produced in North Korea. The tank also has a heavy KPV anti-aircraft machine gun and a coaxial machine gun, as well as 4 smoke grenade launchers placed on each side of the turret. The tank does not have the capability to fire ATGMs from its main gun. The model of the tank that was displayed at an April 2017 parade was equipped with 2 MANPADS launchers at the rear of the turret, 2 ATGM launchers mounted on the left side of the turret, and twin automatic grenade launchers mounted on the right side of the commander hatch. Although the engine compartment and the layout show some resemblance to a T-72 hull, the chassis is basically a heavily modified version of T-62 with greater length and an additional pair of road wheels. The glacis plate of the Pokpung-ho is heavily sloped and protected by applique armor in the initial version, with ERA added in later versions. The turret is reinforced with wedge-shaped armor modules in Pokpung-ho 1 and seems to be protected by composite armor similar to the later export variant T-72M1 in Pokpung Ho 2 with ERA added in Pokpung Ho 3. The panels along the tracks seem to be made of a light laminar armor. Although the horsepower of the Pokpung Ho's engine has been speculated to be as high as 1,500, the engine is likely to have around 1,000 to 1,100 horsepower. It was reported that North Korea rejected the development of the 1,250 horsepower turbine engine of the T-80, stating that it would not be suitable for a tank engagement within the narrow mountainous terrain of Korea, and that it would prove to be of little difference on defensive missions. During aggressive missions, the Pokpung Ho can quickly engage the enemy due to its already excellent speed and acceleration, which is the basis of North Korean tank tactics. The fire control system of the Pokpung Ho is relatively modern and based on the presence of a meteorological mast is almost certainly computerized, and some reports claim that it may be based on the Chieftain FCS, which Iran may have illegally exchanged for North Korean technology. If the Pokpung Ho's FCS is based on the T-72s, it may implement the PNK-3 or PNK-4 day and night sighting system with the 1K1349 periscope combined passive-active sight guidance system. However, the night sighting system is most likely to be the same with obsolete T-62. The quality of the equipment is likely inferior to the South Korean counterparts, but there is no proof for this claim. The Pokpung Ho also has an infrared sensor, a laser rangefinder, and a searchlight, all of which allow the Pokpung Ho to operate during the night. North Korea also possesses extremely powerful submarines, the Simpo-class submarine. This submarine, which is also called the Gore class, is a new class of submarine produced in North Korea. Only one submarine was observed in service, the 8.42 Yongung. It is the largest submarine designed and built for the Korean People's Navy. The ship's design was inspired by older Yugoslav designs such as Heroj and Sava. There has been speculation the design is influenced by modern Russian submarines of the Kilo class or Golf class submarines, but the submarine is significantly smaller than these designs. If the design is successful, the Sinpo class could replace the aging Romeo class submarines. However, it is possibly a one-off experimental submarine, as the Korean People's Navy has built previously. Another submarine in North Korea's possession is the Nongo class. The name is used by the United States Department of Defense to identify a series of new medium-sized warships built by North Korea in the year 2000. Few of these ships are believed to be in service, but they appear to form the core of a modernized Korean People's Navy. In the late 1980s, the North Korean shipbuilding industry experimented with the Soho-class frigate, a large warship that had an innovative catamaran hull design. After then, when the North Korean economy showed some signs of recovering after the Great Famine, the Korean People's Navy started introducing again this design to modernize its fleet of medium-sized vessels. North Korea made use of the catamaran design and adopted the surface effect ship technology. The design is advanced and has been adopted by few navies in the world. The first ship of the class also had stealth lines. Considering the lack of official North Korean released data, most features, design, and details are speculations of analysts after observation of satellite pictures. The weapons appear to be related to the different subclasses, and different evaluations were given by analysts. The original stealth SES Mongo showed only surface artillery weapons, which is a gun of 57mm and a turret of 30mm guns. The warship variants at first were valued with one gun of 85mm, one or two turrets of 30mm, and unknown kinds of anti-ship missiles. Later, it surfaced after North Korean propaganda video that the warships are armed with the Russian Kh-35 missiles. Also, the gun appears to be different, a reversed engine turret of 76mm. Despite being probably less advanced than their South Korean rivals, this warship can challenge the South Korean Gumdeokseori-class patrol vessel, sharing the same 76mm artillery and anti-ship missiles, even if the South Korean ships are larger. In January 2015, the first pictures of the ship employed in testing a reverse-engineered KH-35 missile were released by Kubernetes and Cloud Native Associate. The Hwasong 7, also known as Nodong-1, is a single-stage mobile liquid propellant medium-range ballistic missile that was developed by North Korea in the mid-1980s. It is a scaled-up adaptation of the Soviet R-17 Elbrus missiles, more commonly known by its NATO reporting name, Scud. Inventory is estimated to be around 200 to 300 missiles. United States Air Force National Air and Space Intelligence Center estimates that as of June 2017, fewer than 100 launchers were operationally deployed. The Nodong-1's range varies, with most approximations falling between 1,200 and 1,500 kilometers. The accuracy of the missile is estimated to be 2,000 meters circular error probable when deployed at maximum range. It is believed to be 16.2 meters in length, 1.36 meters in diameter, and possessing a launch weight of 16,500 kilograms. It is equipped with a 1,200 kilogram separating warhead that could incorporate an 800 payload. The capabilities of the Nodong missile are such that it can only effectively be used against large, soft targets like cities, airports, or harbors. Its range is enough to put parts of Japan within striking distance. However, the accuracy is extremely low for modern missiles and likely ineffective against hardened military targets unless it was equipped with a nuclear warhead. Thanks for watching. While you are still here, click on the link on your screen to check out another of our videos. See you there.